here now after these changes.
My bad.
This is the new 24 preliminaries, this is the MOE amount coming here, this is the difference. If you leave their tax rate as is and everything else, we think they're gonna bring in some additional funds, let's put it that way.
Yep.
Just tell them to budget MOE.
Yep.
Then it'll just drop into their fund balance. Let's go over to debt service and show them where they're at after the adjustment in sales tax. And this is where you're at on the debt service fund. It's got 2.9 million right now.
So this is, David, is this maybe a good time to make my suggestion regarding the sum of the salary? And I know you might have it. I think this is the right time to talk about it.
Yeah.
So similar to what I was mentioning earlier, we've got a little bit of cushion here. We've just discussed and we voted for taking 1 penny from debt service for the Hendersonville project. I would like to propose that we take an additional 2 pennies. And David, I want you to confirm when I'm done with this. This should not change our trajectory measurably relevant to depleting debt service, but 2 pennies and distribute that to all salaries and to shoot to get to 1% and 3%. 1% maintaining for the those who had ARPA, with one exception, and that's the people who have come on since, who didn't get that ARPA when they came in, to bring them up to where everybody else is.
Be the sheriff's department.
That's the sheriff's department of that. They've got some employees who missed out on that, to bring them up to where everybody else is, and then get everybody else to 3. I think we can do that in 2 pennies. That's my proposal. You know, we voted on this last time, I think, so I think I'm gonna make that motion. It would need a motion to go.
So let me ask a question before I make
I'll move for discussion.
Yeah, no,
Floor's open. Well, floor's open.
Floor's open.
Floor's open. It is-
So how many of the departments, whether it's 2%, 3%, whatever, how many of the departments look at the total level and then divide it upon how they so choose versus?
The way we do all of the budgets is the same thing. We try to adjust it to your current salaries. Whatever they're making as of, when they send it back to us March 1.
But you could do that, but then roll it up to the.
We could do that for every budget, but you're gonna have significantly more dollars involved. I mean,
How is that?
Oh, well.
It'll be
we
the
can
same
go-
amount.
Uh-huh.
It'd be the same amount.
If you take out the attrition versus
Yeah.
leaving it all in and multiply it by 2%, that would be a difference. So for instance, if you had an employee that retired and somebody hired an employee in for $10,000 less dollars in a large department, we put them in for the new salary, there's $10,000 less. So you take that new amount times 1.02 for 2%.
Yeah.
But if you left just the line item, you take the whole line item with the 10,000 times 1.02.
Oh, for the person that already retired.
If you're
I see
taking
what you're saying.
attrition there out.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if they send it to us, by March 1, we put it in the presentation. If they don't, they verify that they don't with these things. Kind of just.
So how is it built? So some of them are built one way, some of them are built the other way?
No, they're all built.
They were all built that way, unless they made a request to you specifically.
Well, that's that's my question. Who all made a request? Anybody?
We're calling anybody now. We've had the 2 tonight. There was a request to put attrition back in. It wasn't there March 1.
So no department made a request by March 1.
Just to take 2% on top of your salary line item. Not that I can recall any of those. Not seen either.
Well, they weren't anticipating attrition.
Go ahead.
Well,
We've
if
got
it happened after.
we've got a question in the back.
To
Rules
be
are
fair, it
suspended.
hasn't been, I didn't know to ask for that because in the past, that hasn't been taken from us. The COLA raise was given on my total line item, so I didn't know, I mean, it's sent to us and said, there are columns we cannot change, and it's what our employees make as of March 1st, and it says, don't even put in the COLA raise, only put in what you're asking over and above for that. So I didn't want to make it look like I'm asking the county commission for more money when it's money that's already in my budget. if that makes sense. So if it's gonna be done different than how it's been done in the past, that's fine, but I didn't ask for more because I already had that money in my budget, and I did not know that attrition was gonna be captured or taken or whatever.
You come to the budget committee and ask them to keep the 2% one other time, or a couple of times now.
I-
So it's not a reason.
Every
to
year
go-
I've been in office, the
Let's-
COLA
Come back
raise
and
has
ask.
been
We
applied to
could,
the.
like, I just wanna see, I'm just interested in like what the, because we've gotta come
Do
to
you
a
want us to make
decision
that
here. at
change?
some
So, hold
point.
on, you're permanently taking money out of debt service,
Yeah.
pennies.
You would.
I mean,
It would be. I mean, it would change, you would be, and you would be changing maintenance of effort a little bit. By about one,
Why are you wanting to take money out of our debt service to do? I mean,
because again, it's not able, those extra pennies aren't getting us anything. We're not calling in any debt early. Any debt that we would be calling early would be at like 3%. It's not doing anything for us. If we go back to debt service, here's what we got. It was the best proxy that I could figure out. So this is what you got this year. Next year, this goes down, well, this minus that goes down to here. So you got 10 million. So, you can only project out so many years before inflation, where our sales tax, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera is gonna go. So what I did here, this is this year's to play with, plus about 1.2. That 10 million right there, I've got is for the next 2 years, the next 3 years. So 4 million, 4 million, 2 million, but 3 years out, at that point, we will have more sales tax. So like that's 4 years where we know there's no tax, increase. And I can't go any further out than that, right? Like, can't guarantee no tax increase for 10 years. That's not realistic. But 4, we can. And moving 2 pennies now, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think is gonna change that trajectory. It's
You got
not.
10 million coming out.
So we can give people a little bit more buffer in there, not change our debt trajectory at all. That's where that came from.
Woody,
Does that make
can
sense?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean
it does, but yes, but I mean, you get the point. I mean,
it's
Last
anathema
year.
to him. I can see it in his,
Huh?
it's anathema to take away from debt service.
it is.
I mean, it is.
I voted against it last year.
I
I beat
get
the
it.
previous commission from doing it.
But just to be clear, we're going way up on debt service after last year. Like, we're going way up back to where we were.
Yeah, we reduced it by 63% last year.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're going back
in 1
up.
year.
We're going up
It's
so
already
much.
shifted. We've already made that.
Yeah, we already made that decision.
Yeah.
Like, we're way back, so much back that next year we're gonna be forced to come down. Or come up with a plan where we have to we're gonna be having to come up with $30 million to call bonds. It's not like, that's
So
where we're
we
gonna be.
shifted back, it's almost we shifted.
Yeah,
Right now, it's
I
shifted
get
almost
what-
too much because we know we're gonna have to deal with it.
that's exactly, but we did it on purpose.
No, I understand.
So that we were like super hard on ourselves, right? But we've got the buffer.
Yeah.
I mean, and look, I mean, if we,
So why not do it next year instead of this year?
and we could do it next year. I mean, we could do it next year. There's no harm in leaving it there. There's no harm. But we're being super conservative on the sales tax. We just dropped that back down to exactly last year. The deficit spending projections are literally based on the percentage of spend on the worst possible year of the last 5 years. So I'm like,
When we're worst possible year, 15 years.
I mean, you're right. I mean, and we've got a lot
Over
going on.
15
We've got a lot going on with inflation that's killing us too, right? Like, we would have been crushed on the highway department if we didn't have the state coming in to help us. Like, this is true. So I'm not saying like, look, it's a suggestion. I'm just saying worst reasonable case right now, 2 pennies ain't gonna kill us.
Right, but the arbitrage ratio is 23.9, so we have the wrong figure.
Okay.
But it's still, you're hitting the same trajectory that it would change.
It doesn't
So
change.
my whole comment there is, I know I think the original number was 6%, we cut it down to
1 and
whatever.
2.
And we, to go through the exercise, if we have the ability to give them 3 instead of 2, and it's not changing the trajectory, I would be in favor of that. I mean, And now that we're at that point in the conversation, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, does it take the whole 2 pennies
We
to
can
get
look
to
at-
that number?
Let's look over there.
Yeah, let's figure that out.
We'll give you a guess right now, then we can go back and look at the actual.
Yeah, what are we-
Let's just give you a guess right now, go to the main salary.
Oh, well, okay.
Go on down. Right now, it costs $940,000 to do the 1% and the 2%, and you're talking about going to 3 and 1, so the 1 won't change, but the 3 will, but you're gonna add in the ones that were started after July 1.
So how much?
Somewhere around that, you're gonna about, what, double that on the, what's gonna cost you less than $940,000? I have to. Because right now, we've got, what now? We went in there right now, we've got in there 1 for ARPA, 2 for everybody else. If we change it, is it gonna go 1 and 3? Then you're really gonna go way less than the 940.
Yeah,
You
so-
gotta count for those, you also gotta count for those additional
Yeah.
folks,
The
you know,
folks that
coming in
came
three,
in.
but they're not gonna be,
That's like.
it's our largest department, they're not gonna be huge.
Yeah. It's gonna be like.
We can work up the actual numbers, it'll just take us probably 10 minutes. Change those fields, move the pennies, it'll take less than 10 minutes.
Can they work on that while we discuss, because I don't want to take another break here, while we just, I think we can discuss without looking at this, some of these other
Let me
proposals.
show you how to change the penny real quick.
So let's,
All thing I need to show her is how to change the penny, and then put in the stuff for Henderson to do real quick, and then she can do the rest of it.
so let's, here's what I might suggest, we've suspended rules, let's let them do that, and we can discuss some of these questions that they had, and just kind of get these through, knock these off one after the other.
They may have to change their sheet while we're.
Well, yeah, but we can, so I mean, but some of these are super easy. So, the development services, or whatever we're gonna change the name to it, that one seemed pretty simple to me.
Yeah. About the restructuring
The
of the department,
restructuring
and
of
the
it.
line items and the
Yeah,
salaries and the.
do we need to take a vote on this? Is anybody against this? Okay, I think that one's,
Fine with changing.
I think,
With how he presented?
yes,
Okay.
as presented.
Yeah, because you'll vote it all at one
Yeah,
time.
as presented.
Yeah.
So what are
The
we?
assistant director, and
What's
killed,
that?
Okay.
it killed up.
Okay, so
open
that first
position.
piece.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
No, we do.
We're not talking about the fee structure.
Yeah, that's a fair point, so let's talk
Well, I'm
about
talking
the
about
fee.
the extra 35,000.
Yeah, like, are you gonna let him spread that amongst the other employees that he mentioned?
I mean, it's because it's a wash, it's
Yeah,
not
I-
increasing his
I think you
budget.
may want to give him some-
I personally feel like, rewarding people who save money. I mean, we don't have to give everything to him, but I think we ought to give a lot of it to him to determine what he wants.
I mean, those are big gaps in like market study. that he's got.
He's not asking for more.
He's not asking for more.
He's just
I-
asking
no, I'm
permission to
good with
distribute.
it.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
specifically talking about the
$5,000.
35,309.
You may want to give him some-
I'm in favor of this.
So, is there any debate on that one, any worry
You
about
may-
that?
You may want to give him some direction of who to distribute it to, because the 2 employees that were the most off was the actual planner. and
We
the
can
engineer.
do that, but like,
To me, I'd let him, he's he's.
Yeah, I would let him control.
I'm not real comfortable like putting money in my own.
So I'm saying,
You know what I
he's
mean?
gonna come.
I see what you're saying. So what he's asking for is for us to figure out his.
You want us to figure it out?
Furthest off.
He doesn't want to give him,
I'm
that's,
not comfortable like doing that.
yeah, no, I get it.
That's why I brought it up.
That's fair.
I knew that happened before.
So, look, we can,
Let's do the fee structure first,
yeah.
because
I'm for the fee, I mean,
I am too.
I'm for the fee structure.
Yeah.
I mean,
for that one, I think we probably do need to.
yeah,
Well, here-
So moved.
So
Second.
With the fee structure, I mean,
Let me sit down. I'll
are you
show
talking about taking that $98,000 and putting it right back into the planning department?
No,
Talking
no,
about-
it comes in general fund.
General fund, okay.
Yeah.
General fund, and we can,
do it,
Well-
it's revenue.
Now,
I'm gonna make an amendment
I told you what field to look
to that
at.
motion, if you're gonna do that, that I want it to go into strictly for, capital project needs for education.
I'll second that.
As a lockbox.
I'll tell you what, I'll save the trouble, I'll put that as part of the motion.
All right.
Okay, so the first and second are
I
good
don't-
with that?
I mean, that's the reason we're doing this, is because of development, which is causing problems with school.
I just wanna throw it out there just to see the response, but I'll make an amendment to that, and is of the 98,000, have 15,000 stay there, and the rest go to the schools. So then that would basically take the 35 up to 50 from the previous discussion. So take the 98 down to
70 or
83.
83.
83.
Or whatever.
Yeah, 98 down to 83.
So that would be an amendment there.
And
may not have a
that's going to
second.
Debt service?
No, it's going to the general fund, but I'm saying it's going to be.
He's gonna put it in a lockbox.
Lockbox, a line item just strictly for educate
It'll be
capital projects.
restricted.
Like, if there's some, it's basically a savings.
You know who said
account
that,
for
right?
us.
That was Al Gore who said that. Lockbox.
Well,
Back in the
So-
day.
so-
it's a savings account for the school. That's what our inadequate facilities tax that Mo referred to.
So-
Which brings in only $2.8 million.
I just don't
a
wanna
year.
make it super
When we
complicated.
borrow
Yeah,
on
yeah,
average
but-
$40-something million a year for schools because
Let's-
of growth.
I
we
mean,
only get 2.8.
there may not even be a
Disparity is
second,
so
I'd like to see
great.
if there is.
I'm not,
10,000, but
I mean, I probably,
$10,000.
is there a second for Mr. Becker's amendment?
I'll make a second.
Okay, so we'll vote here on the amended, so we're voting now, these are nested together. We're voting on the amendment
To my amendment.
to his amendment. Then that amendment is 15,000 into the general fund, 83,000.
No, that's not yours.
No, that's not mine.
No, no, no,
That's
no.
his.
This is 15
I
would,
incorporated Jeremy's in
Fif-
there. Not a motion, so
15.
you just got an amendment and a motion.
it's
Okay.
15 would remain in the development.
Okay, so
services.
15
Oh, I
into
thought-
development
And the-
services.
And the rest, the 83,
If it was, okay, got it, all right,
He's
so,
just rounding it up to 50.
all right,
Yeah.
all right, we
Yeah.
ready?
I got a question. If, I'm not convinced that that the fees are high enough, because some of them haven't changed in 30 years. Is there an opportunity to change those in the future?
Yeah, but I have one concern making them any higher right now. Marshall and Josh, when we add together all their salaries, a reasonable amount for rent, utilities, vehicles, and gas, we don't really need to be making a profit. They are fairly far going toward that direction, already to break even.
Okay,
So if you go too far, you may actually end up making a profit.
and so to explain my amendment as well, so my amendment is of the 98,000 that comes from the fees.
yep,
Okay. My amendment is that 15 would stay in this development service department. The remaining 83 would go earmarked as the original motion here.
okay,
That would give us, hear me out, that would give us the 35 plus the 15.
okay,
That would give us, that would give $50,000 to look at the salaries of the 3 employees.
Can we put part of that toward debris cleanup too? You have a debris cleanup also that's out of money.
The what?
Marshall's office does debris cleanup, vegetation, and there's no money to do it. Could you actually make part of the money used for that? That's one of the reasons. we're-
this is where, like, I feel
Yeah,
like
but
we're
hold on.
getting nuts here, like,
Yeah,
we're.
yeah, yeah. Let me finish my comment. So I mean, the salaries that Mr. Sutter brought forth to us, there were 3 positions. And so of the 50,000, my basically, my motion would be 25, 20, and 5 in that order. So if you got this sheet as in your normal agenda,
I see,
it would add 25 to the first line, 20 to the second line, and 5 to the third line. And if you
I see.
look, those
That brings us a lot
quantities
closer.
pretty much brings us in line with
Okay.
the service. So there's some rationale there to that 50. So again, my amendment here is to get
All right.
basically get that 35 up to 50.
all right.
So that's my amendment. And there was a
Is that,
second
are
by
you still, well,
somebody.
you seconded it, but are you still seconded?
I'm still good.
All right.
with
I'm just gonna say something. Just, in all fairness, we are, in my mind, penalizing county residents for the city's growth. In the end of the day, because this is what we're doing as a stopgap, is raising it, because, hey, cities won't stop rezoning, they won't stop doing high density, they won't stop annexing. There's nothing we can do to stop them or charge them right now. So we're gonna basically charge anybody in the county who wants to build something on a couple acre lot or whatever. I mean, it just, you know, and they're not the ones, those people aren't the ones creating the impact that's negatively affecting things like schools and roads. It's not, I understand the need to want to do this, but it just makes me mad I'll just feel like we're just screwing county residents is what I feel like at the end of the day on this. And that's
No, I
just
get
my
the
personal
point.
opinion.
I mean, I get the point,
I'm
because
just-
you're not,
I
because,
I do
just-
like your,
I get the point.
I can 100% like your idea about earmarking it. The only reason I'm asking.
Well,
the
I'm just talking about in
amendment-
general.
Yeah.
So it's
No,
not
you're
just,
right.
it's not just for your amendment.
No,
I'm just talking to the
because
I completely agree
Because a
with you.
person taking
I'm
their
backing
5
up.
acres and knocking 1 acre off of it to build a, a house is not the problem. The
No.
problem is somebody who's adjacent to Gallatin putting 500.
Six or
I
seven
get
houses
the, I
in it.
get the,
That's- And we're not
All
affecting
right.
anything with that.
No,
We're
I-
not solving any of
That's
those
a-
problems.
that is a
It's
good
not
point.
doing anything. It's doing
well, it's
nothing.
more revenue, but it's not,
But we're
not,
penalizing people who aren't causing the problem.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
they're
that's a
the
fair point.
minority, Jeremy. It's the people who are building the big projects that we're trying to recover the costs from.
Yeah, but the county, do you see the planning department approving those big projects in the county? 'Cause
Yeah,
that's- I
they,
mean,
what they're gonna do realistically is they're gonna
You're
go
not-
and they're gonna get annexed, and then these wouldn't apply.
No, they can only get annexed if they're adjacent to the city boundaries,
Well,
and that's not
we-
happening.
right
in the
now.
spot.
But I'm just saying, but you're
Well-
talking about the people building big swaths, that's not happening in the county right now. It's only happening
yeah,
in the city.
here's, I mean,
It's happening enough.
let's do this.
Or we
So
wouldn't be
we're on
meeting
the,
every
we're on the
month.
amendment, and that's yours to earmark it, to split that earmark it. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
1 no. All right,
Now
now
we're
we're
back
back on, well, actually, we're on,
I
yeah, now we're on
incorporated
yours.
this part into
Whatever,
mine.
yeah.
Well, now we're on yours.
Can I just be clear real
It's
quick?
Mark,
Okay.
it's the Mark's
All
main
right.
motion.
I just wanna be clear about that motion.
All right.
So 15,000 to stay in development services,
And
and
the
the
other
rest
80
of it
for
to
needs
go
over-
for capital for schools, is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes, it's-
As a
Back in
lot,
the general
Bob.
fund.
But it's for our general fund, yeah.
Our
Right,
general
and
fund, but-
25, 20, and 5 on
Yes.
that. Okay.
Yes.
Sure.
That's right.
Yes.
All right, and now we're back to the main. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
1 no. Okay.
Can I ask a quick question about
Yes.
this? So when it goes back into the general fund for that, I mean, is that almost restricting the same way that we're restricting our adequate facilities tax
What are we
papers?
exactly-
Where
New school
they
debt?
want to put the money that's being generated from those fees.
Okay.
They wanna put $15,000 to go back to development services, but the rest of it to go back into the general fund, restricted for, education capital projects only.
You can commit it, but put it for education in a general fund, they got their own tax levy.
I'm just talking about, we're just saving the money. We're not giving it to them. We're just saving it for ourselves, for our own little, small, little, insignificant as it may seem, rainy day fund that adds to that.
So they call it, what would we just call it? Because you can't really restrict it, it has to be a legal issue. You can commit it, as a county, the county commission can commit the money. So maybe commit it to something like future capital expansions, or what would you want to really relate it?
Well, I mean, you look at
Future-
needs, like, you look at needs that schools have, and they've come to the county for, in order to keep from increasing the MOE. Like, okay, we needed to buy some school buses. So in order to help with those capital projects costs, we've used general funds to do that in the past.
We use the capital projects fund.
Correct, but I'm just
This is the
saying.
general, you know, the
But
capital
you,
projects.
but this is just like, if you're gonna charge a fee because of growth, that's really the most negative thing of that growth is a school cost. I'm just saying that we're applying that, and that was the motion that was made. We've already kind of made that
There's
motion.
an argument about the tax levy on that, and I know before my time, about 3 years earlier, they gave the schools some money for, athletic facilities out of the general fund, and the state actually wrote up the county for it, for violating the tax levy, because the schools have their own tax levy, and yours says general fund, so I think if you're putting
Come
in
out
there.
of the capital projects that we're
No,
doing?
for the county general fund. Now, the capital projects fund, no, but the county general fund, that's what we're doing.
Well-
Could we shift the money over?
To
the
capital
fund?
projects?
I specifically, the motion was for capital, like school capital projects. That was what my motion was for.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm restricting it to.
Here's
capital
what I might suggest here. I think we have the will to want to do this. If it is found, if this is not compliant, then can we bring it back to consider it?
I think we end up with tax levy. You
Should
should
what's-
be-
Well, hold on a second, real quick. Let me just ask, I know it's not exactly what you're saying, but maybe it could get us there. Is if we put it, can we just put that money back into the hospital fund? And that way we can just control it.
You can do that.
Oh, we're gonna literally rebuild the fund that the previous people
Well-
destroyed.
And we.
I love it.
This is what's weird. We
I love it.
I like.
Building
love
from the
this.
hospital fund for the schools.
We've spent
We
$3.7
can
million
tell that
on
money
school
did
building
not
from that
come
fund.
from, the reason they didn't say anything, we could tell that money did not come from property taxes, it came from a one-time sale proceeds. Well, we just put it in there.
We could put
Well, these
that-
aren't coming from property taxes either, they're coming from
Oh, we just-
fees.
I think the best thing right now is that I
These
do
aren't property
take the
taxes.
difference back into the,
This isn't the tax rate, this is a fee that you're
right.
charging.
But what I'm thinking the other issue is Josh already has those fees, so we have to determine. You know, we're talking about the 85, Josh did a good job, estimate 15 going to the salary. That'll be clear, because we'll work it out, you know, down here. The other one's gonna be determining how much of that's the new fee we're putting in the
That's
hospital.
gonna be difficult.
It's
for
gonna
us
be
to-
very hard, because.
Unless it's just a flat $60,000 of what we collect goes toward whatever y'all earmark it toward, I mean, that's doable, but.
Yeah, because you'd have to do a diff every single
Yeah,
year.
every
Every single month.
Yeah, that'd be hard.
Yeah, these are proportional.
You're gonna get a lot of administrative costs for them to keep up.
One thing that came up at the planning commission recently is that and not to, any idea is great, but this occurred to me as you guys were talking, there's a lot of areas of the county that are in a floodplain that really aren't mapped yet, they're approximate. Nobody really knows where the floodplain boundaries are. They cost a lot of money to get those flood studies done. There's a lot of parts of the county it's those yellow areas that you see on the map when you look at the floodplain. There's a lot of parts of the county that could use a flood study. And we can leverage money, we can get a dedicated funding source, we could leverage that money with the Corps of Engineers and with FEMA to do flood studies across the county to find out where the actual floodplain is. And that's a service that we could provide to the community there, where people actually know where the floodplain is instead of it being approximate. And we kind of have to guesstimate where they can build and how much they have to elevate.
So that's a total change. If we
That's
were-
that's totally different than what you guys were talking about, but it's a need that we talk about all the time.
So I feel like we can. I think we've got a plan here, and that plan makes sense too. I feel like we can adjust on it, but it's 9:20, and we've got a lot of things to get through here. Is there any other motion? Are we good with this motion?
I think maybe we could, let's keep it as, in my opinion,
Yeah.
let's keep it as is, and before our next
Yeah. We
budget
can fix
meeting, we
it.
can
There we
fix
go.
it.
I agree with you. That's what
Yeah,
we're
we're
gonna
not under old
do.
business.
Will you put that under old business for the
Okay.
next? Yeah, that way we can revisit then if we need to
Now,
fix
if
it.
you decide to do the floodplain, the easiest way to do that is if you want 15, we're estimating 85, you budget a line called
Yeah.
floodplain study in Josh's budget.
Yeah, we could do, that's a good
And that one's
idea.
easier to do.
That-
No questions on levies or anything on that one.
Because we need to revisit to make sure it's good.
You're
We're
gonna need to
okay, that
vote
we
on
can do it.
pulling it back the vote and putting it on hold.
What's that?
You're gonna need to pull back the vote.
Oh.
Put it up and then put it
Well,
on
we can just,
old
for
business.
old business, can't we just have verification of,
You need to nullify that vote
you think so?
officially, yeah.
All right, well, what Eric's saying is that we need to nullify that vote if we want to put it on old business.
Well, no, we don't need to notify it. We'll just bring it up as new business then. New business, next meeting.
I mean, is that gonna hurt us? Is that gonna get us in trouble?
What's gonna get you in trouble?
It's not 15, let's do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not,
Regular scheduled budget.
The one on the 6th, all it says is to vote to publish on the 6th. We could renotice it and put other things on it.
so,
I mean, we can renotice for more stuff.
Your meeting on Monday,
Well-
June 5th.
Yeah, we would have to.
Clarifying the language.
I keep saying.
so
Monday, June
let's just
5th.
leave it and we can add it, like I'll add it to the agenda.
Do you want to, so what we need to renotice the agenda?
No, I mean, I can just add it, I can.
Well, it's a special
We just need to
call.
have it on a meeting in
Well, the thing is,
June.
you've got to have a budget that you're capable, I mean, you may change something afterward, but you need to have a
We need
budget you
that-
are capable of improving, well, we
But
can
we're
go and
not,
publish.
yeah, that's,
So,
10 days in advance, we gotta get in the newspaper.
so let me ask Mr. Mansfield, are you okay with the hospital fund version instead of the earmark for the?
Yeah, as long as I mean, can we clarify that? I mean,
Let's
it's,
just stick 60, since Josh's estimate is, let's just say 80, he's getting 15, the difference would be what, 65?
Well, no,
Let's
his
say-
estimate's 98.
98, so it would be 85,
Take the difference.
83,000, let's just say 80 to be
So
simple.
basically, we need to go kick revenues up by that amount, put 15 in his budget, and then we'll just put a formula here that much goes into the hospital fund.
Yeah.
All right,
Show it
so,
on my little.
And then we
comparison.
would, we're gonna have to deal with that next budget
I
cycle
mean,
too, but.
yeah.
yeah. Is that a
Just as
motion?
long as we're able to use it for those, it's like it's an emergency fund for things that come up. I mean, that's the whole goal here.
I think it would be fine as long as it's county general stuff. I think when you get into highway or schools, you end up,
No, he's talking about schools.
This is the only reason I did it for schools. It's the only reason I'm doing this.
there's another way to do it if we move. If we put 60 in there, you'd need less pennies in the
Well,
general.
let's do that,
Partial
it's
penny
80,
over the capital.
it's 80, so it's 80, I like the highway fund, or not the highway, the, hospital.
Hospital fund.
He's saying you can't spend it. He's trying to say you can't
Well,
spend it.
you probably can't, because we can argue that it's not a tax levy issue.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not a
right,
tax
that's his
levy.
whole point.
Can
That's
we,
what it's-
can we
But
move
it's a revenue
funds?
for those fees, I don't know, that's a kind of a
Can we
legal
move
question to look at.
funds,
As long as it's, tax
can-
levy.
let's say
It's not a
next
tax
year,
Usually what we have issues on tax levies.
yeah.
It's- I
So
mean, it's
next
not a
year, we
tax
could
levy.
move funds from the hospital fund to the school, capital project fund, if we had a reason.
We wouldn't move it to if they have a capital project need.
That's what I'm
Like
saying.
Like it's something for a ball field or something. Like
Yeah.
say we wanted to use that money.
Is there
to
any reason we
expand
couldn't,
a facility.
Well, that.
because here's the problem, I think
that
what you're
David
getting at is
Copper
that we're
has
putting
something
things
to-
into one bucket that we would, that the intent potentially is to use.
I know, but you're raising fees for something because of.
I
this.
know,
It's like, if
I
you-
understand
You're opening this
why.
door, I'm gonna keep.
I mean, I get where you're coming from, I'm not against it, I'm just saying like how to do
The
it.
meeting on the 5th, right now you could just,
Just,
give us time to look at that. I mean,
All
I
right.
think right now you're gonna be okay because it goes outside property tax levies. As long as we can segregate.
so then we can leave it as
But the
is?
question is,
And if you're gonna change it, then you can vote.
So let's just leave it as is.
Yeah.
All right.
what was the added is, listen,
Hospital
Eh, eh,
fund?
Hospital fund.
she's got
No,
it.
no, no, not
No.
hospital, not hospital.
No.
The
I've
vote,
got it.
what's that?
Yeah, it was 15
But-
back in development services
And then
and
The rest.
the remaining to go into the hospital fund, but he wanted it to be.
That wasn't the,
The-
that wasn't the vote,
didn't
the
mention
motion wasn't,
hospital
the
fund.
motion wasn't specific to the hospital fund.
Not the first part, but that's what you're amending it for.
Yeah, well,
Well, we're not gonna
talking
amend
about
it.
that right now.
Oh, okay.
We're not gonna amend it.
Yeah, okay.
So is a
so we'll talk
recommendation.
school capital, then we'll research it.
Yeah,
and make sure.
that's how we'll
And
do
so,
it.
yeah,
So
and
we
if,
just got
All
that
right.
day to look at it.
Got it.
yeah.
I'm not saying I want to increase the maintenance of effort.
No, we're, that's not, it's school capital, not,
Well, we don't have.
Well, you
any
give them money out of
exist. We don't have
capital
schools.
projects.
I mean,
So let's-
That's what I'm doing it for, but we don't have a.
so, election commission.
They
They didn't present any,
come, but we can show you what they originally requested. so we can show it for you.
I mean.
What's the difference?
What's the,
What's the total money difference?
Because what we told everybody was to bring your presentation, so we didn't really, quick on what they said. Cage drive, that's what we're talking about. No way to tell to get her actual request.
here's,
But what,
But we
I'm
didn't-
sorry, do we know what the total money difference in their request
We're gonna
versus?
pull it right now.
Oh,
Because everybody was informed to bring their, basically bring your own when they asked.
no, I understand.
We'll have to pull it up right now.
so, here's, I mean, we can look at this, I mean, my suggestion here is that we roll with what we've got. And if they want another hearing, they can give them another option. I mean, they chose not to show up here. I suggest we roll with what we got. Well, it's plus the 3, that's the 3%, which is basically what we're doing with everybody else.
Are we doing 3% or 2%?
Well, we're figuring that out. It's 2 or 3. Whatever we're gonna do for everybody else, we're gonna do for them.
Correct.
Yeah.
And,
So what the request is probably includes 6. So it might be hard to get apples to apples.
No, it
I'm just
doesn't.
curious, are we 5,000 off or are we 500,000
No,
off?
Pull the non-salary
Oh.
total here to the non-salary.
Does it include the move to the TRC building in their budget?
yeah, that's the
There's a
thing.
lot of TRC news.
We need to,
I think the salary
Pull that
is
out.
fairly close. Let's see what the non-salary is.
But it all includes that move.
She's got 255 more in voting machines. So what's that
I
total?
mean, we need to be
I'll write it down.
removing stuff.
255 on voting machine. But, like, this is where,
464,092.
like, if we don't,
We've already spent.
she wasn't here.
092, okay, what is it on the regular budget where we're at right now? On non-salary.
I can't believe it. I can't believe no one showed up.
I mean,
It's hard to believe.
Everybody
That
else.
is, 213.
forward somewhere.
213,682.
That's true.
So take four
The movie.
sixty-four.
No, for the extra that they're asking for.
We can't help
Which is
that.
bad.
We need to pull it
What was that first?
Just 464, I think it was OE2.
464 OED, and what's the new one, 234?
213,682.
Dinner.
We're running for low 90.
Mayor of Hendersonville dropped this off.
Who did? Jamie.
Yeah, I bet. That's $4 million.
Wait, they may have changed the mind.
Don, you get first pick here, buddy.
Now, if you would have brought this before the vote, you didn't vote for it. You voted for it.
Those cookies are $100,000 a piece.
I mean, it's $250,000 non-salary request, so let's remove it.
Look,
That's an addition, isn't it?
We're talking about a budget that's bigger than Rutherford County.
here's my opinion on this. If this is my opinion without objection, and we can vote on it. And I got a lot of cookies in my mouth, but I'm getting a sugar rush. But listen, they weren't here. I said we roll with what I got, assuming there's that 3, if it's 2%, 3%, whatever is the difference.
You understand that there's like $250,000 of non-salary
But
items.
we're not approving that though.
Well, we need to pull it out as a.
Well, no, that wasn't in
It's
there.
not in there.
That's not in there. That's
Yeah,
what.
that's what.
Okay, you got
That's what they
that.
requested.
Yeah.
Okay,
No.
well, I'm talking about what last year is not the new one. Okay,
No.
so that was confusing me.
Yeah, no. We're maintenance of effort plus the 3%, and if there's an issue, they can come, present on the 6th or the 5th.
Is part of that, next year's elections, increased number of workers and so forth?
David was part of
That's
that.
all non-salary.
It was all non-salary.
That's just the
It was
non-salary.
all stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, they decreased election workers. in the-
They decreased election workers?
Will you give me one?
The
of them?
request next
It
year.
was over
So-
$250,000.
Wait.
Non-salary.
Hold on. I want to hear that again. I know they decreased election workers and increased all this non-election worker spend.
Go hit the request, just make sure.
I don't know what she requested.
My poor request sheet.
Oh, yes, she decreased it.
No, but I mean, look at the actual question. Make sure.
Well, the next year's got lower election.
The whole sheet she just had.
2024 presidential
Oh,
election?
actually.
But it's in July.
Well, that's true.
Oh, this is what she sent? Okay.
All right.
Yeah, that's the one she sent back to us. right?
Okay. So, are we all good with keeping what we came with last time, which was maintenance of effort plus the salary increases that were given to everybody? And I would suggest, I think we got time to put on notice. Contact Miss Ashley and see if she would like to get another chance to present. I don't know what else to do. Is there any issue with that? I mean, I know I'm trying to give every opportunity. We're gonna keep it a maintenance effort and then put on there, reach out to her and ask if she wants to come to the next
Everybody
time.
said we were gonna do that last time we met 2 weeks ago.
So,
And
yeah,
we're taking out the TRC move and all that.
so, yeah, that's
That's
right.
not included.
So, okay, there we go. Is there no issues with that?
Nope.
What is it?
Already,
We're gonna, maintenance of effort plus the,
Cola.
plus COLA. Okay, the county mayor, I'm for this. the $5,000 to
Yeah.
go back toward maintenance.
Yeah.
I'm for this. Anybody had any issue with this? Okay,
Do
that
we
one's
need to-
good.
do we need
Good to
to
go?
vote?
No, we don't have, no issues.
Okay.
I don't think nobody raised an issue. Consolidated dispatch.
I think they were fine.
Yeah, no, that was,
We don't have an
because we
option.
can't do anything on
There's
that one.
nothing-
Yep, that's
nothing
right,
to do.
nothing to
Mayor
do.
confirmed that was in the request.
Clerk and master?
I know, that's what we said.
Oh, yeah, he withdrew, that's right. Ag extension, I'm good with this, 2308.
Yeah.
Anybody got any issue with this, ag extension 2308 to bring that one person up? We good on that one? All right, we're all good on that one. Circuit clerk court.
I'm writing.
I think she's saying some of those were raises for people that like their probationary raises and stuff. Or other raises.
Like, I'm just torn on this. Like, I want, in it ideally, to be able to just give it that top line item, unless it's gonna throw the budget off.
So, Mr. Long, you saying it's gonna
So here's how much.
throw the
it'll
budget
affect
off
it.
this year or next year?
What's gonna
Next
break?
year.
Yeah,
So
like,
go
what's
for
gonna
it.
break here?
Go hit that summary sheet and you kind of tell what really happened, the easiest thing for the budget, how much it's gonna take. It's not a big amount. Salary sheet. It'll show that, whatever that decrease is right there. If you brought her back and increased it to 2%, it's a little bit over 14,540 plus benefits, I guess.
So $20,000.
But I'm,
less than-
my suggestion, and to help me understand where I'm off, is you take the 2% by job position
That's what we,
and then roll that up.
that's what we did.
Okay. So that's what you did, but you're still saying it's gonna mess up the budget.
She's wanting to get raises now that we didn't know about at the time. It's not, she wants 2% on the gross line item. From last year. We do it on based on your current positions and anything we know about. If you say there's gonna get raises, people, we just stuck them in the yellow column and noted them
I
back.
don't even understand.
We've done the 2% on this amount.
I don't grasp it.
I'm not.
It's because it is.
Seems like a thing you do.
So is it just for the, or is the worry just like the last couple months? I don't get it.
Well, some of them came in today, or not today, last week.
No, yeah, it's not gonna do that. My point is, this is a timing
Hit
issue.
that email.
If I had given this money in October, which was well within my budget, within my letter of agreement, within whatever, I would not even be here having this discussion. You would have given me the 2%. But because I'm trying to give it between March and June, I'm being told no because they based the budget off of the actual numbers, not off what I have budgeted.
I see now.
You see what I'm
I
saying?
see
This is a
now.
timing
So-
issue.
She sent it to me May 19th.
So they've gotten a bump in pay since March 1.
It's May 19th, these three right
Is
here.
that correct?
Yes.
And so you're
Well, no,
at,
they won't give it to me.
No, let
I'm
me-
trying to give them.
No, let me be clear.
Hold on.
She's got in her statutory office, as soon as we get out of here,
But they
whatever
will not
happens,
do it.
we'll stick it in there, but she's gonna be over next year, that's what I wanna tell you, to her too.
But I will only be over because they haven't done it on a budget, they've done it on what the actual figures were on March 1, which one of those figures is incorrect by like $4,000. One of my employees was put in as less than, which I didn't catch. And that's my bad, I didn't catch that, but it doesn't change the fact that it's wrong. I mean, that employee's not gonna get a decrease.
How much is,
Of
so,
$4,000.
Let me clear the
But
floor.
you see my point, like, if,
I get the issue.
There was a raise on that employee. too, that's
so
why I
for
thought.
me to say, I want 2% on my line item solves all of this issue. It's not that I'm wanting to increase over and above, because I don't give, I mean, you can look back at all 9 years I've been in office and see that rarely do I ever spend all that's in there. This is a budgeting issue, and if something comes up between March and June, I'm being locked in.
It's a flexibility thing. I mean, I understand it. The only issue I have with it, I mean, I don't have an issue with it
I get
from
that.
a conceptual point of view. This is just Matt. I'm just one vote here, but like, I don't have an issue with it. That's like you said, this is how you do it in business, right? Like you give the department head a pot and the department head figures out it and you roll with it. My only worry is what breaks. And that's, what's the problem? Like, so what's gonna break
I
here?
received it on May 19th, that's when we did find out, it was
well,
3 days ago.
forget the
I'm
time.
not worried
Yeah,
about the
forget the
time.
date.
And
just-
I've seen the others, well, you said it wasn't received a few days ago.
Don't worry about that, please.
But
What
I
happened?
said it wasn't received today.
It's all right, it's all right.
Yeah.
Let's,
Either way, you're talking about 20,000.
$20,000 difference.
Right.
That's the difference.
We've wasted that at this table.
My question is, if people
You get paid
report
more
it,
than
we
I
can
do.
report it.
No, I need
Yeah,
all
all
of
this
it.
All right.
money is currently in my budget.
All right,
All of
so
this is
I think
already
we,
approved in my budget.
so it's getting into the top line item, it's gonna cost us $20,000. Okay. I mean, I get the issue with the timing.
I'll
I
make
get
a
it.
motion.
So what happens next year?
What, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that-
What
that's
happens
right.
next year? This is breaking. What does that
Well,
look
if
like?
everybody comes in.
Because we're gonna have the same problem again next year.
So right now, we need to determine one of two things. Do you just want us to take their flat line items and give them raises on it, or do you want us to give them?
No, I want you to
budget
roll
by
it,
position?
I want you to go by position and roll it up.
That's what we did right
Yeah.
here. That's exactly what
But
happened.
she's given raises, or she wants to give raises with this year's money. That's
Right.
already, she's already approved for this year's money.
The
Yes.
problem.
But she can't because we're taking it out.
And if that's how you wanna
Right,
do it, that's
right.
fine.
We get it, we get
But
it.
department heads need to know in advance that you cannot use any more of your salary budget past March first.
Well, yeah, you just need to give your salary increases on February
Well,
first.
It's not always predictable when people are gonna leave.
It says that they have to have the estimates by March 1.
And so, it was-
Can't prepare a budget.
I get it. So what happened is, so the real issue here is that, did it come, it came in late. I get it, that's the problem. It came in late, but I get it, mea culpa, we're all imperfect, I understand. The real question, so as long as it comes in on time, this shouldn't happen over and over and over again. Is that what I'm hearing?
If she sends us the request for next year's and notes, hey, in the yellow column, then you guys look at it based on that request.
Got it.
The request in there is actually from those.
Because
sheets.
you used, for when you built this, because it was late, you used
She
actuals.
wasn't late.
Or,
We sent it to her on January 17th, due back to March 1. She sent it to us March 1. We sent her a verification sheet on April 5th. Never received anything back, so this is the
okay,
sheet. that-
I mean, we're gonna be here all day on this, so let's just,
So my question is,
let him, and I'll get you.
it's not been answered. So with what breaks, is this gonna be continually breaking every year because of the cycle? It seems like it's happened prior years, so it's not, stuck in a cycle that just keeps breaking
They
year after
need
year
to put
after
them on the
year.
request sheet that they get March 1, whatever they want for next year.
Go ahead.
Ultimately, the issue is, so let's say that this gets approved, and then somebody in my office retires in June. I've got all of next year to reallocate those funds if I want to, and you all have no, you can't do anything about it. The only reason we're discussing this is because of the March to June
No,
time
I get
period.
it.
So it's not an issue of when it gets sent in or anything, it's what is it
It's-
based on, what is the next year's budget based off of?
Prohibits that?
Okay, I see.
You see
I
what
see,
I'm saying?
yes,
If-
because
if
it's
you
March
just-
1 to June 1 because in that window of time, because we based an estimate on something that was turned in on March 1.
Complete the budget.
Or whenever.
That's
Okay.
how we create that.
So look, we can argue about this all day. Do you get it now?
I don't.
We have to have a deadline to put the budget together.
Yeah, you have to.
If we're not now putting it together.
I
I
next
understand
week,
that,
not
but
gonna
it's a
be good.
budget.
Here,
It's a
here's,
budget,
okay,
and they're
all right, we
basing
got
it
it,
on
we got it,
actuals.
we got it,
I
we got it, we
Okay.
got it. Do you have another question?
What's the solution?
Yeah, that's a good.
The permanent solution, so this isn't, is this the only department that has, because like, I know the sheriff turns in money a lot of time in the past, but I've never heard these problems with the sheriff department,
You
so I don't
can
know.
adjust the $20,000 in the budget, or tell her that that was the request she made on March 1, or tell her next year that we're gonna do everybody's on the gross lines. I mean, there's all kind of options you can do. I mean, there's like all the options.
But none of those seem to solve
But
the,
she's the only one that's requesting this,
Well,
which I think it impacts everybody. right?
yeah, it should impact
I
everybody.
know, that's what I don't understand.
Whereas everybody else just got like so much over that they're able to play with it, and she's got a lot less. I don't know.
She's a bigger department, and then the sheriff has salary
Is she
amounts,
the
so
only
like their
one that's
deputies, they
actually
make a certain amount.
Moving
Their
money
lieutenants
around.
make a certain amount.
Well, I know-
EMS makes a certain amount.
I know-
Hers aren't set the same.
This is my first time hearing of this, but I know, highway has turned money back in before in the past, and I know the sheriff's department has turned in money year after year in the past, and so I just don't know, it just still a little bit of an enigma to me, so.
I mean,
Does this
there's
happen
no
with-
perfect solution here.
Like, I guess, have you ever had this come up with like the highway or sheriff
No,
department?
it's come up with this office, we're not dealing with
But wouldn't the same rules apply, or the logic that they would still be stuck on March the 1st as well, if the sheriff's department had this, I mean,
that. Well, the sheriff you've got, if you look at theirs, a lot of theirs, and it changed last year some because of the steps, but their deputies, pretty much based on the years of service, make the same amount. Their lieutenants, same amount. Same amount.
so they're not moving the money around from salary to salary based, it's the same type of way. This is more of a unique situation that's within this department, I guess. It's not happening in the other ones. I'm just trying to understand. It should be equally the same problem or
And if he
equally not.
knows, and like, for instance, the sheriff, if he has somebody going to the police academy, we know how much it is and how much it's in the police academy, he puts it on that sheet, and then we have it for next year. So basically, everything we receive in March 1 has that built into it, and then we bring it.
And if he has somebody quit or doesn't hire somebody, that money comes, he can
It comes
put that back
back
in the general
in,
fund,
right.
and then we can then reallocate it back to him.
And if he has vacant positions or a certain set amount, because that's what the city started at.
I mean,
Here's the sheriff. See this right here on the sheriff?
You know, I can understand, I really can understand all the arguments here, but he's offered a solution to roll it up. And I think we ought to go ahead and, she obviously is a good manager of her department, so, you know, we're talking $20,000. And I think we ought to go ahead and we will mandate what we're gonna do next year. And that'll solve it for all departments, everybody, and go ahead and forget this 20.
Motion.
second. All right. All in favor? And this, aye. Good.
I'm trying to be logical about
Yeah,
this. and
you
I
are
can't
right.
find the logic in this stream a little bit. You want to just join
I'm
me?
still
Can I say one
fuzzy.
thing? I just want to say this. I know you're going to move on. What you don't know is if people are going ahead and maximizing their previous year's budget, so you're not seeing this issue.
I don't know, that's why I'm
You know what I
asking,
mean?
I
Like,
just don't know.
If you have a spot here, you move somebody
I
down
get it.
here up into that,
don't
and you
know.
don't,
But
so it doesn't end up in front of you. You
I
don't see
get,
it.
no, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But you got your 20,000.
All right, here we
So
go.
there you go.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so that one's good. Libraries.
What was the sheriff? The sheriff wanted to make 2 deputies. into-
Oh, yeah, that's right, the sheriff.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
I'm good with
Any
that.
issue, we're all
So
good with
moved.
that. We don't even need a vote.
Okay.
We don't need a vote, there was no issue.
What about the sessions judge? He
Well, we're not
had-
gonna save money on that one though, so.
We're not there yet. We're in the
Yeah, we're on libraries.
She had 3 errors they made. I think they were, well, I'm sorry, 2 errors they made. They were honest errors. The employee's actually already making that much.
Yeah, no, that's,
And the other one left out zero.
it's adding 8,000, but it was an error,
It was an error.
right? I
I
mean,
mean,
is there any issue with that?
Do we need to make a motion for this or?
Well, do you have an issue with it?
Because they're not asking for new money.
No, that's right.
Well, they're asking
I
for
think you'll all make a motion at the end.
about
Yeah.
$8,000.
It's not-
It's not
It's
material.
not new money, it's just, it's new money because it was a typo.
Well, correct. I mean, but it's like, it was money from there consolidated.
Yeah.
Any issue with this? I think we're all good with it. We can continue. All right, general sessions 2. This one was,
Transfer funds.
it was to transfer funds, what is it, to,
He had an employee that retired back in January. He's wanting to add some duties to some employees. I think it's May 26th is on here. And he's wanting to give them the additional money that was left over from the employee that retired. to these employees. And it'll affect next year's budget because it's on actual, because they retired back in January.
how much?
It's
Let me see how much it is here.
3,000, was it?
like
I think it's 3,000, but I don't.
3,000.
I feel like he's doing what she, I mean, this is the same thing.
Yeah, these two.
It did seem the same.
This is the exact same thing.
Identical.
He just said he'd never lost anybody before.
But
Oh,
he's-
yeah, that he said he
but
never
he's-
lost.
He's doing the
anybody,
same
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, but it's the exact same thing.
Correct, that's
It's only
why.
$3,000.
And so what's the difference? in-
3,000.
What's the change?
$3,000.
I mean,
Motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Sometimes we just get beaten down here. All right, got it. Veteran Services. So, before he left, Mr. Brown asked me to, he can't vote, but he wanted to note that he was in favor of, the additional personnel there.
Didn't he say that,
So
it's
is this-
actually less money?
Is this increasing their budget?
Yeah,
I don't know.
does this
I thought
actually
he
increase
started off
the?
by saying it's a decrease.
It will increase whatever, his budget's down because him and his assistant does not take health insurance. Historically, what happens on health insurance is if you come in short during the year, we ask you to do interbudgetary transfers. If you don't, the actual county commissioner with another line item covers it because you don't want to hold that against your departments because it could be an issue where you're trying to avoid hiring families or people with health insurance discriminatory.
So what's the difference between that $21,000 is not truly a $21,000 ask for this position?
What is the
but-
ask?
I mean,
What is the total ask?
Or is it, it's more because
It'd
you
be
got
21
benefit?
plus the benefits.
So, and then that is a true difference between the two.
Yeah, let's put the 21 in this.
So you're not counting the fact that they're not taking health
21,000
insurance?
plus.
Because it's a new part-time position.
Okay,
It's a
thank
new
you.
part-time.
Well, that's not the budget.
I mean, the
anyway.
other, you have the full-time employees, but you gotta think about this,
Yeah, I feel like
if
this
you give him
we can do.
$38,000
I
with
feel
the
like
part-time,
that's
and
gotta-
then him with the other guy or lady, is it guy or lady?
Lady.
You know what,
quits,
man?
10 days from now, you're gonna be putting health insurance on that person.
We gotta help our vets.
If they
If it's
Hey,
only
this is not a
two
good
one
jazz.
one, let's just, I mean, if we.
How much you wanna make it, Matt, and we'll tell you the total. You wanna make it 20,000 over there?
Yeah.
Make that 20,000, but so add what, put zero, and it'll be, what do you need, $9,900, and we tell them the total. Be a total of 21,530.
Motion.
Got a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, he gets what he needs. Okay, EMS, that one was just asking, I think, Mr. Poss was just asking to go up to 5%, and we're gonna cover that discussion when we talk about these pennies, so I don't think we will.
We were already ready to look at where you're at on that right now. They've already been done. You wanna look at the total and the general and debt right now?
You already, well, that wasn't gonna go to them anyway, because they got the ARPA, right? So they're getting,
Would you wanna
let's put that one aside. Let's just keep going here. Let's
You
do
wanna look at the highways now?
we need to do highway.
Yes, that's,
Let's tack out this sheet. This is what we received from the Highway Association today.
What was
which
the,
all
I'm sorry,
good
what
news.
was the?
talk about the email from the highway.
They wanted to go up to
department.
It was
5%
sent from
cost
Highway
of living.
Department to the Highway Association about their gas tax.
5%.
Go to the page for the. Some more.
We can share this one.
Everybody got one?
Everybody.
Yeah, here we go.
And the important thing, let's go back to this page, and I know it's kind of small,
Okay.
but if you look at that page, and it's got several numbers, but if you look at this last month, and you go to, I moved 1, 2, 3, 4, about 6 numbers over, it'll say year-to-date, and then
Which
2000
table? You're at the top one, the middle, or the
I'm
bottom?
sorry, the very top table.
Okay.
And you go from the left, and you see there's a year-to-date about, I guess, 6 from the right.
Okay.
And then right beside that, there's a 22, 23. If you look at that last month, it just came in very bad enough that the actual Highways Associations here has written a number that they're concerned they're not gonna meet the revenue projections this year or next year. They think it's because, one, I guess the gas prices and uncertainty, and two, they think it's electric vehicles. I'm not sure Tennessee contains enough electric vehicles to make that kind of number changes, but. I'm
You're
sure it
looking
has
at
some
April
effects.
23, 464?
What now?
You're 22, 23, the bottom, April, the month of April.
Yeah, that's where you're going, year-to-date is 229. But
Okay.
then you can go over to the year beside it,
Uh-huh.
which is because this last month was really bad, 2360 was last year. So you're actually going down. on
Yeah,
that.
no, we went from
You're looking
25
at
month
$4
over
million
month.
difference?
This is
Yeah.
statewide. These aren't our
Oh,
numbers.
this is
It's a real decrease, not just a
I
decrease
haven't
in.
received Sumner's number, but
There's
they
a- what's
received
on
the
bad?
state numbers before I do.
That's bad.
So their recommendation for Sumner
That's bad.
next year, let's go to
Biden
my
inflation.
sheet.
Oh, no.
People ain't
I had
recession.
259,691, which was very
Cause of
conservative.
printing money in Washington.
They're in
It's the only
panic
reason.
mode down
One
there,
thing
or
causes this.
somewhat, I guess. is the best word for it.
Print money in Washington, that's what happens.
They're recommending.
There's one cause for inflation.
Where's your highway?
Well, now, but it's going the other direction. This will ultimately end up in deflation because people will stop spending. Nature is self-correcting.
Correct.
If you look at
That's
the
why
gas
there's
tax, I
recession.
have 4
That's correct.
billion, 232,797. They say that it's not gonna bring more than 4,114,433 433 next year, and they don't think it's gonna bring any more than that this year is what I'm reading.
So here's what I'm thinking, David,
write this down?
because we're moving, how many pennies did we move?
3 in the general.
So we moved a total of 3. Did we have anything left over when we,
Did we increase the highways raises?
because we should have increased everybody's raises. We should have a little bit left over,
Except for those who got the.
Well,
except for those.
Do you wanna change these two right here to that 4,114,433 to see what we look like first?
Yeah, and because here's what I'm driving at. What I'd like to consider is maybe taking a little bit of slice half and half. I think we need about, what, $600,000 difference?
We'll
for
we
Toby?
can change this,
For
and
Toby?
the one employee with the,
Almost 600,000.
what is it
It
called?
was at a probation.
He's on
500,000.
probation, we forgot to send that to us, the same kind of.
It's
So what-
like $1,000.
Yeah, we're down to
That's,
2,000.
that's,
It's not 2,000.
that's not material. I'm just worried about the total that we need to bring down.
Did you get highway? Change those to the 4,114,433. 4,114,433. 4,114,433. Very low. Then make that the same amount as the Trump
best way to look at it. He's looking at year over year.
We were actually $21,000 up
22 to 23.
Yeah, I see that.
for our county, well, for our county
Yeah.
was.
That's a
But
real
when I pulled the
reduction.
actual number.
Yeah, I mean, looking
This
at,
is their recommendation. I really think it's probably gonna come in better than this, but I really hate to go against their recommendation.
Huge jump.
So going back,
What is he saying?
999.
see some, I
They're
don't know what the county
1,800
recommendation, state one was up.
Yeah, one.
When we add the 3% in math, they're $814,680 short of 112.
Say that again?
$814,680 short of 112.
So here's what I'm thinking here. I'm suggesting we split the baby, find the 400, we could reduce he's not gonna be happy about this, but we can reduce I mean, we're hooking
The
him up with
mileage.
some stuff, but reduce 400,000, that's gonna take off, it's about $110,000 per mile, 115,000, so that'll reduce us 3 miles of road paving.
But it was 34 miles last year, we increased
Well,
it to
we're gonna go to almost
50.
40.
That was
No,
more
we're
than
going
that.
to,
It's a minus 400.
no, we're going to, I think we're going to
Trade he'd
40.
be willing to make to get his people.
Well, but here's the thing, but I think what we
Well,
do
this is just for
is we
reserves.
reduce, so man, there's no good way to do this. We could reduce half, but just reducing the mileage, so we would kill 400 and some thousand dollars of asphalt. And then we might, what is that, 2/3 of a penny?
Let's look at debt service, you still got about $1 million, so you could take, let's say if we move, 600 some, 2/3 is pretty close.
2/3 of a penny.
This increases maintenance of effort.
Yeah, but it would. We're splitting it in half. Or we can burn it all off. I hate to burn it all off.
My concern is the state's recommending you have 2 months expenditures, they actually give you a note in your budget for.
Yeah, we don't want that.
They consider it's very concerning at this rate we're at right now.
So, I mean,
It's that or-
I'm open to suggestions. My suggestion was burn half of it off and then, we would increase his maintenance of effort, which I think we're gonna have to do at some juncture anyway. We were just putting that off with the state money. Or we could burn half of it off, could we put more ARPA funds toward him? Hey, David, what about, could we burn half of it off, put another 400,000 of ARPA? Do we have any ARPA left?
Let's go look at ARPA, Bethany.
What about that? So then it's not toward maintenance of effort.
Look at the ARPA spreadsheet. It's probably easier to look at it on there, 'cause
We need to get rid of some of that ARPA anyway.
see, the concern you got on the ARPA, well,
I think we're good.
it's showing you're positive on both categories. The thing that we do have a concern about is, just like the health department, we're gonna send it to our consultants. If you can justify it's COVID related, it's not gonna come from revenue replacement. If you can't,
Well, we're only talking about $400,000 anyway. If we burn half of it off, even if it came from the 10% or the 10 million, then we're good.
for now, as long as all this can be used in that category.
That's what I would suggest we
They'll
do.
be evaluated.
That's better than a penny.
It is to me.
Yep.
That does $400,000.
So there's $800,000 there. We need to make up $800,000
We're
difference.
doing it half by cutting.
Half by cutting it. We're
So-
saying we're gonna remove about 3 miles, and then we're gonna give them the other half from asphalt here.
And then we'll have to deal with that next year.
We're gonna have to deal with it next year.
Add it into your-
But we've got state money next year,
And we're gonna know.
because we're
what
not
our-
taking all of that from state. So we've got 2 good years here.
We'll also get to see what our sales projection.
That's right. Hopefully, I mean,
I'm fine with doing what you're talking.
all right, any objection to my plan there?
No.
All right,
Second.
we got a motion and second. All in favor? Aye. That's the plan, David. Cut it in half, take the other from the ARPA, from the 32 million if we can get it, from the 10 million if we can.
And we'll send them all to the consultants today.
Okay, man, we're getting efficient now. Where's my pen? Okay.
We're just getting tired.
Nice young.
It was when I was 20.
So going back to EMS. The
EMS.
request was 5%, but we're just saying,
We're
saying no.
We're just saying, no,
Whatever it is.
whatever it ends up being,
Okay.
I mean, unless you wanna make.
No,
otherwise.
we went through that so quick, I didn't catch it.
He made a good case, but
Yeah.
like, he had to put together a fantastic benchmark, I give him that. But we've got what we've got.
Well, we got real issues with EMS. I mean, I've kept quiet, but
we start losing more people, we've been burning off overtime and, trying to keep these stations. With 6 people down, that's 1 station. So you're having to have them work overtime, to keep 1 station up. And as you continue that overtime, you burn people out. And then if you got other counties that are offering better opportunities,
Well, it looked like he was, I mean, it looked like we were on the lower end on a per hour basis, but not just crushed. I mean, and the question is how much more would be, I mean, we bring them up to like 3%, everybody up to 3%? I mean, that starts to break the budget.
compromise to keep them at least competitive.
Because we're talking about 3% for everybody, right?
Well, we're talking about 3% for everybody who didn't get ARPA, but they would only, because they already got the ARPA.
You gotta also remember, other departments, when we were giving ARPA, they were giving bonuses too. You know, we gave, 15%, Clarksville, Montgomery County gave 22%, because of the market. I mean, that's just the market we're in.
No, I get it. I get it.
So, you know, the other counties were doing the same thing.
We did just break a bit of a rule that we were having across the board for the.
Employees didn't get a bonus though. I mean, this ARPA, I mean, we bumped them up. You used
base
one-time non-recurring funds.
Yeah,
from
that
a
is
source
the
of
thing
comptroller
that's
said,
cost
don't
us.
do it from
It should have been a bonus.
Well, I
but it
agree
was
100%.
And so we're trying to
that
fix
ARPA
that
shouldn't be
problem.
used.
Yeah,
right
dude,
now.
it's been-
But
We're trying to
that's
fix the
not,
problem.
yeah, I agree 100%, ARPA should have never been used for that.
But the problem is still
But that's
market
not
dynamics. I get
EMS's
it.
fault
I get
that
it.
the previous commission used ARPA to give them a raise. They should have bit the bullet and gave them a raise, because we have to stay competitive in the market. You don't want to start losing your EMS personnel and shut down
The
stations.
problem is we start going more than, I mean, at most, we might be able to do like,
Listen, I mean, here's, if you're talking about losing personnel and stuff, I understand, but there's, unfortunately, I'm just gonna address the elephant in the room. I've heard part of it is because of leadership, and so, I mean, it's a contentious subject, but it's like, so I think it's a subjective application of why you're losing people. I'll argue it's not necessarily because of cost or pay or benefits. And I know that people have left and come back because the grass ain't green on the other side. I mean, Sumner County provides amazing benefits, a quality of life, but I know that there is a contention right now in that department based on leadership and a division there.
Well, the perfect case in point was Josh Suddeth. I mean, radically lower wages than other local counties. And
well, we
he's-
also just plussed him up, so.
We did, but they've been going for how long?
Yeah, I mean.
At a serious deficit, and he's still been able to keep them. So, you know, I don't think Jeremy's wrong in
I
what
don't
he's
either.
saying. And I don't know how to, I'm not involved in it enough to know, but I know that, you know, strong leadership will keep people when the wages aren't there.
Well, but I mean, but it'll only do so much, right? I
It
mean,
only will do so
it'll only
much.
do, I mean,
Yeah.
at some juncture,
Yeah.
you're gonna say, hey, man, I love your leadership, but
Yeah, but
I
I'm-
want
I'm-
$40,000 more.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're there,
Well,
but.
and the other thing, I've been able to maintain many employees in my business because I showed them where, okay, if you go work in Murfreesboro, you're gonna burn this
So let
much in gas.
let me just ask this, David, let me just ask this. I'm not saying we want to do it. What are the implications of moving them from 1% to 2%?
Well, just go over and change it, basically, and see what it looks like.
I'm not saying we want to do it. I just want to see what the implication is.
I'm not against trying anything.
But,
I mean, I wanna keep them all.
and then, you know, because we do this, then the sheriff's department's going to come in and say,
I know.
wow,
Yeah,
we're the only
It's a
ones.
Pandora's box, it really is,
And this is what happens when you use one-time funds for salary.
yeah.
That's all right, it's our problem now.
Plus, let's look at the bottom line on the general fund, that's what I think they're really gonna be worried about. If it's gonna balance that fund or not.
Yeah, that's right.
Did it change it? That number's the same. It's the
I
number.
didn't change anything, I was looking to see. what
Oh,
it
okay, I'm
was
sorry.
Before I changed.
Well, that's a good reason it didn't change.
Yeah. I was sure it's the same number. See 623 over there, let's see what it changed. difference between that 623 and that 530, so what, about 100?
That's 90, that's all it is?
How much was it?
97,000 bucks. All right, man, I feel like I'm just getting soft. What happens if you do that to the sheriff? $97,000 is, I mean, if that'll help.
They're about 3 or 4 times that size.
Yeah, see,
If it's
and
gonna
they're,
change the-
We have one of those, oh, guys, we should do it. Mostly more changes.
yeah.
What was the
Yeah.
percentage increase last year with ARPA, 15%?
It was, well, if you divide it in two, it's like, I don't know, I think it's like 7 and 8. But yeah, the one time, it was 15%, but.
Yeah, that was last year.
Yeah, but you divide that by two, it's effectively 7% year over year. So one time 15. But I'm kind of treating it, because we're burning it off, I'm kind of treating it like it's happening over 2 years. But you could look at it that way too.
I mean, that's what we're trying, the problem we're trying to fix.
100% that's the
And
problem.
the
we're trying to
disparity
fix.
between.
Yeah, that's right. But I mean, you know, John's point is market dynamics are playing too, because everybody else is doing this too.
I get it, but I'm just.
I know, I mean, I don't want to put us on,
The whole budget
I don't want
process,
to put
millions
us,
of dollars in the hole.
I don't want to put us on a bad
Why don't we
trajectory.
close the sheet, reopen it, I think it's best, like, sit there.
I mean, I'm not saying we want to do this.
I think it's an issue.
You can just bump it up a lot and see, make sure it's changing at all.
It didn't change. We actually changed it, the whole system just didn't pick it up.
I do want to say thank you guys for saving us a lot of money without having a CRM type tool here.
Munis has a budgeting
It's a
package,
lot.
but it's nothing, it doesn't work, it doesn't do anything.
Mr. Chairman, maybe we don't shut the door on this. I don't, this is a terrible year. We're having to cut and look for money. But let EMS evaluate, not only that department, but sheriff's department, just evaluate the whole issue of how their salaries compare, staffing, and this sort of thing. We could always revisit this and just make a note in the budget that we will revisit this issue with possible suggestions and revisions
Well,
later.
the only thing I worry about that is I think the general idea is we try to set this once a year and like they get what they get and we be consistent with it. That's the only thing I worry
I
about.
understand that, but if we're not going to do that, then we just need to do nothing and let EMS look at it. But I really think that it ought to be reviewed by, you're talking about the sheriff, dispatchers,
391.
yeah, that's all in that same area, and I think they ought to review it. I don't feel good about doing something like that without a review.
Yeah, I mean, we did. I'm just trying to see what, I think we'll probably go back to the 1 and 3. But,
We don't know what that looks like yet, the 3.
he had it up there. That's a lot of that's plugged in.
Did he?
Yeah,
So what?
But you're talking about moving money from debt service to do
Total,
that.
right?
yeah, that's what he's looking at.
But you're moving money out of debt service.
Yeah,
I'm not
we
gonna
already
do
did
that.
But we have to move it all out of that size
Yeah, I covered that piece, but like just total. How far off we are?
We're not gonna be able to call it a $30 million bond. I mean, where's that money gonna
Hey,
come
Matt,
from?
in total, how far off are we on the number?
Hey, David, yeah, we're trying to just get to the total general fund, like how far up, where are we at?
Well, we can't get the thing to pull the calculator, we don't know why. Click on that cost of living with their sales and see what percent that is.
That's what we signed up for.
See what percent it's pulling, you know? It appears to be pulling, well, 5316. Looks like more than that.
All right, 5-minute break while they're working on this. Yeah.
Want to hit stop now?